All right, all right. Big thanks to our social media content team for that awesome welcome video. Shout out to Zane and Ethan. Good to see everybody. Seems like we'll have some more people join us shortly. Small group tonight so far. But that said, welcome to our BeatCancer.org weekly call. Quick reminder, nothing that's said in this call is intended to be taken as medical advice. Always consult with the appropriate medical professionals when necessary. Yeah, we have a couple topics to cover tonight. We also welcome our guests or social media viewers of the live stream to pitch any topics of discussion, commentary, or other comments, whatever you got in mind. And we'll get to them as quickly as we can. We will be monitoring the comment section. That said, I'm going to hand it over to Carl, see if he has any other housekeeping items.
Nope, we covered it. We covered disclaimers and we're good.
Cool. Cool. All right. So, first order of business for tonight, we have some topics to cover. Or do you want to get to the topics, Carl, or do you want to see if there's anything on anyone's mind that we have here?
We could go to what's on people's minds here. So far, we just have coaches, but that's cool. I know it's on my mind, but it's got nothing to do with anything that's going on here.
Okay. Awesome. Well, before we get to some of the scheduled topics, we'll turn it over to the coaches. If there's any cool and interesting topics that are on the top of your mind. Actually, I have something cool to share, and let's check it out. Let's celebrate the newest person that has their Find a Holistic Cancer Coach directory listing at least partially filled out. Awesome. Thank you very much, Deborah, for
That's an
getting
awesome
us
picture.
that information. Yeah, that is pretty cool. And so that'll be filled in shortly too. So a quick shout out to Deb for getting me her information.
Thank you. I was shamed. I'm
Uh,
kidding. I'm
No
kidding. It
reason to
was
be
long
ashamed.
overdue. Long
It's
overdue, and I got a little more to do. So thank you.
maybe there's people that have been coaches for years. They have their recertifications up there, three, four of them, and don't have a profile. So you're way ahead of the game.
yeah. Awesome. But yeah, while you're on the mic, anything subject matter related that you'd like to table?
Subject matter related. Just a lot of there's just a lot of talk that is going around about the ivermectin and that whole piece, the benbendazole and the fenben, just a lot of that, and just as a coach, just taking it all in and learning quite a bit more about it. I think there's still a lot more to learn with that, and sounds promising. However, due diligence and research and everything, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more coming out with that. Um, so just a lot of talk there. It's been kind of a busy day outside of coaching and that kind of thing. So um, yeah, been on a lot of phone conversations today with a lot of people. So in regards
Nice.
to what's happening in the world today right now.
Yeah, it's a super hot topic. The ivermectin, fenbendazole, menbendazole, all the above. It seems like every other comment that we get on a post or every other DM that we get is, where do I get it? What kind do I get? What do we take? And we're like, we don't sell that. So,
Yeah,
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 but a lot of people are
yeah.
looking for it.
Yes,
For
definitely,
I
definitely.
Yep, and
definitely
it's
agree.
just like everything else that we teach in our program. And we don't just teach diet, right? We teach a whole body approach. So it's just another tool that can be utilized, and especially ivermectin's track record throughout the years, it's been pretty. It's hard to OD on it, basically.
Yeah.
You have to be taking ridiculously high doses of it. And
Yeah.
for years and years and years, they've claimed it's safer than Tylenol, and so it's been around for a long time. It has a long safety track record, and it's definitely a good thing that
Mhm.
coaches are aware of it, and there's lots of places you can find research now coming out. So
Mhm.
it's a good arrow for your quiver, just another thing that you can put in your arsenal that seems to be non-toxic. Doesn't necessarily seem to be immune boosting, but it seems to be non-toxic, and non-toxic
Yeah.
within our mission statement.
Right. And the other thing that I wanted to mention also is, in the last few meetings that we've had, coaches meetings that we've had with everyone, as far as with the public and everything, I hope people realize that in calling in with questions and stuff, it's fantastic, but I would really like people to follow up with a coach, because just having the one question is you can't possibly get to know everything and get to know that person, because like you said, Carl, it's a whole body, it's a whole everything. And in order to really get to know someone and get to know what their concern is actually spending time with them and talking with them. And that I would just really hope that if anybody is out there and wants those questions answered, to really take the time to get a hold of one of us, any of us on here, so that we can do our due diligence and find out how we can best serve you, because it's not one size fits all. And there's so much there's so much involved with, with it than just hey, I've got this, what can you do for me type thing. It's a full scale. We want to know exactly what's going on and what's been going on in your life. That's how we base, a lot of what we do and how we proceed forward with everything is really getting to know you, the individual, and what you have going on in your life without, just going off the cuff and suggesting this, that, or the other thing. It's important for us that we know you a little bit better. Don't be afraid to call in, but I'm just saying, just follow up for sure with any one of us. And if we don't know, we have a whole family, a whole arsenal of people that we can go and reach out to and find you that answer. So it's not impossible. Let's put it that way. Not impossible. And to keep talking, keep communicating, because that's how we grow, that's how we learn, and that's how we expand and help everybody. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And as a
So,
reminder for everybody, we have a variety of coaches that you can work with. Of course, if there's one that you see on one of these calls, you can find them in here as well. You could search them by name, or you can just scroll through our directory. Again, that's BeatCancer.org, and you click on Find a Cancer Coach right at the top. And they're alphabetical order, so no particular sorting other than that. They're all wonderful, and you can click on their profile, check out more information, see what they have going on, and yeah, there's hundreds of them all over the world, and surely there's one that can suit your needs. So, thank
yeah,
you for that shout out, Deb.
excellent advice. Yeah, it wouldn't be prudent or ethical for us to say any one thing from just a one question that helps an individual, but hopefully there's individuals that get a little feel for the knowledge that you have, and they can see your name right there on the screen. And they could just go to our search function and look up your name, and up comes your profile with all your information. That's a very easy way to find a coach that's speaking at any one given time. And yeah, excellent. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right.
Jane had her hand up halfway through that. Yeah, you're on mute.
I just had two comments. One
Hey, you're
about
very
did I
okay.
do it?
Yeah,
Or
you
did
were
I
very,
just
very low for a second there. It sounds better. Yeah.
okay, thank you. Two comments. One about ivermectin. And I think this is a big plus that Dr. Hanley from Marcus Institute and Dr. Bazan prescribed it for Michael. And Dr. Ferber, who was his regular oncologist, and for everybody who doesn't know, Dr. Handley is board certified in integrative medicine and oncology. And Marcus Institute is also part of Jefferson. And Dr. Ferber, who is Michael's hematologist, went along with the ivermectin.
Yeah.
And he prescribed it at the dosage that they thought was right for Michael. So it's also out there in the allopathic community not with everyone, but with certain people.
Yeah.
And I think the comment, we were talking about hoping that people find us. I'm kind of astounded, but it's a part of life that there are so many people that really don't want to get involved in their health because they're so used to, here's a pill, or I have a dear friend of mine that I've been trying to help. She had both breasts removed from breast cancer. And I'm trying to educate her in the importance of preventive care so that she doesn't get cancer again. And I'm talking to a wall. So there are so many people that are just not, or it's going to take more time for that person to understand that you kind of put the time in now, or you kind of put it in later. And unfortunately, it's much more difficult when somebody has cancer. But we almost have to teach that new theory because it's not in people's heads.
It's almost a new concept.
It's a new
I mean,
concept.
and that's
Yes.
just not how, you're right. I mean, Jane says, and that's not predominantly how we've been raised. That's just not what we know. And so really
Right.
for us, I think that's our biggest challenge
Yes, that's our
is,
biggest challenge. I
is
agree.
education, is
Yes.
educating people. I think a lot of times
Yes.
that's what we're going to end up doing is educating. And gosh, okay, I'm okay.
Yes,
And
there's
some are
nothing
going
I
to be
can
willing.
do.
Yeah. And some are going to be.
I have another dear friend who is a retired physician's assistant. Okay. She is pre-diabetic. She lost 35 pounds recently on one of those drugs. I can't think of the name of it. The weight
Ozempic?
drugs. The what?
Ozempic, that's like the new
Yes,
one.
yes,
Oh my
Ozempic.
goodness, that's so terrible.
Yeah. No, yeah, and she really is doing great with it. She's down to 170 pounds. It's wonderful. She's pre-diabetic and she's eating candy and ice cream and cake. And I'm going out of my mind. Like, you know about this. How are you eating this stuff? And she
Yeah.
actually makes candy for me. Why are you making candy for me? I'm not going to eat it, because
I think that's
pre-diabetic.
that's the hard thing. When again, that's the education piece. That's about really telling people about the whole body, how it all
Yes, but
affects
she
everything.
knows. She
But when
knows.
yeah. And then when you have a prescription or something that you can take, they're like, oh, I'm taking this, so therefore I can eat this, 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 this. No.
And she knows
That-
better. And then I have to back off because I get nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Looks like
Hey, Carl, can I say something, or Zach?
Yeah, and I think Annette wants to say something too. She's unmuted. Go ahead, Doug.
Okay, I'm on Ozempic too.
Oh,
I went from 237 down to at one time I was at 169, but I'm back up to 197 now.
Okay.
So you'll lose weight, but you'll start gaining your weight back.
If you don't do the diet, right? Is that it?
I just do what I've done all my life, and so like I said, I went to 169, was in 170s for a while. Now I'm up to 197, and my chiropractor also says once you get on the Ozempic, you'll drop your weight, but you'll gain it back.
Yeah.
Did you, with the change of diet too?
No, don't change the diet.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's actually what I was going to say. Like
Yeah.
part of that,
Yeah.
part of that is actually like totally mindset, shift, mindset change, because we are so used to eating a certain way, especially in America. I mean, it's consumerism. We are just, busy lifestyles, trying to take whatever in is convenient.
Yes.
I sit here and I think of like busy moms, like maybe they work and then they have kids to shuttle around. So whatever is easiest, for everybody to grab. And that's just the way we have adapted to things. So really, it's a huge mindset shift.
Yes.
And that's where we come in as coaches to be able to help educate, to be able to help with that shift and make it a little bit easier and less difficult, I think. Because it can be a lot all at once. And I think that's why it's really important to just take those as like little baby steps.
Yes.
But even like with Ozempic, that's a really good example. It's a medication. Yeah, you're going to lose weight, but you also need to have lifestyle modifications.
Yes.
And the same way with cancer care. So
yes.
Yeah, it's all part of the same thing. We just have to keep trying to educate and keep trying to help people with that mindset shift, because that's just a huge deal. It's a big thing for all of us.
Yes.
I know even for myself, it was a really hard thing to get around sometimes. And I would go years where I would go, eat super well and I'd do really great and do all the good things. And then I'd have a year where I'd completely go off filter and I'd start eating junk again and whatever not, but I didn't have that mindset shift at that point in time. So it wasn't staying in place.
Right.
So yeah, that's just a really good point where it comes in for us as coaches to be able to help everybody out with that.
Right.
I actually had a comment.
Hold on just 1 second, Maya. I just want to remind everybody to please mute themselves when they're not speaking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you,
Sorry.
everybody. Yeah, thank you.
I apologize.
Not a problem.
I actually had a conversation with my brother yesterday, who was a big fan of everything in moderation guy. Okay. So it doesn't matter. Like, he's been having so many problems, health problems. And every time when I would bring the diet, he would say, "Oh, Dr. Go told me that everything in moderation, I can have everything." So I keep telling him the reason you're saying that because it makes you feel comfortable that you don't have to give up on food. That's why you're sticking to that idea. Everything in moderation is working. It actually does not work. What does it mean? Everything in moderation. Let me put like a poison in the food in a little bit, and every day in moderation. Let's see where is it going to take people to, right? So finally he came because health doesn't improve, and then finally a couple of months ago he called me. He said that like diabetes is up to the roof, blood glucose levels, and they want to send him to the hospital, to the emergency room. I said, don't go anywhere, just stay home and keep drinking a lot of water. Don't consume any carbohydrate for the next couple of days. Just keep drinking water. Everything went down. And he went on a diet since then. And now, September, we're in February now. Okay, 4 or 5 months. So now he's telling me it's all about diet. I'm like, yeah, I was screaming and yelling for a decade. Let's talk about diet. He goes, no, everything in moderation. Now he tells me all about diet. This is what we never expect. Like, I was one of them also. I'm sure everyone is like, it feels the same way, that cancer would never happen to me, right? So we never expect that, but it happens, right? And then you got to take best out of it. You got to learn how to deal with it and what to do, because if you're not going to take a matter into your own hands, this is not only about cancer. As I said, this is about diabetes and everything. If you're not going to take a matter into your own hands, you're going to lose. That's all I would say, unfortunately, most of the time. But Maya, the guilt factor is not so high when everything's in moderation.
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm saying, because it makes me feel comfortable, everything in my, so I can have a little cake, I have a little pasta, I can have a little bread, so everything in moderation,
There really is no. Oh, go ahead.
No, it's like, let's put the poison every day a little bit into the body and then start taking pills for it, and keep putting the poison. Where is it going to take you?
Yeah.
Right?
I love that you said that, because it just reminded me of a visual that I saw right before we got on, actually. And this was actually in regards to some other products, some injectables. But like, look, that's poison, right? We all recognize that as poison. But what happens if you space it out? What does it still spell? Poison. What happens if you have some stuff in between the poison in moderation, right? What does it still spell?
Still poison, yeah.
It's still poison.
Yeah.
There's no getting around it. People think they can trick their body or trick the laws of nature or the, just reality.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work like that. There is no getting around that. Yeah, there's a price to pay for all things, especially for very sweet and unhealthy things that are, fun and easy and delicious, but what's the price to pay? That there's just no getting around it. Health it takes effort.
It does take effort. And then people, when it comes to everything in moderation, people think, oh, I'm gonna take tons of supplements and they're gonna help. Guess what? They don't help. They don't. No, they don't. I mean, like, I've been there, done it 100 times, learn my way.
and came to conclusion, like if people have diabetes, so what do you have to do? You got to cut down on carbohydrate. That's it. Basic solution to that. You cannot give body something that it creates a problem. You cannot keep giving something that creates a problem and take a medication and assuming that problem is going to just fly away or go away by continuing doing the same thing. And the same word as poison is therapist. If you break down therapist, like, it's if you isolate two words like therapist, right? The way it spells, basically the rapist,
Yeah,
it's
I like that you blanked it out and then said it anyway.
yeah. So yeah, when it comes to that's how I think actually. They truly rape people mentally.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. And that was originally going to be my my profession in life. I went to school to become a clinical psychologist and then,
Yeah.
understood how much I disagreed with the institution. But that's a conversation fully for another day. But we could partially go into it because how we have our mentality and our thought patterns and our thought processes and how we process emotions and how we just relate to our inner world and how we feel in the world is entirely related to cancer. All the physical stuff is great, very important. All the foods, what are you interacting with externally? But what you have going on internally is equally, if not more important. And so it's a great point that you bring up. And, it's not, the modern institution of therapy and psychotherapy as unfortunately it gets people ruminating a lot. It gets people resonating in the negative emotions and frequencies and like really brings people back, not always in a constructive manner. That said, of course, there are some wonderful mental health professionals out there, but I think there is also a lot that are doing a lot of damage by encouraging people to just stew in their troubles of past or present. And that can be cancerous. That can be equally as cancerous as all of these poisons that are in the food, etc. And so, healthy mentality and healthy internal well-being is huge. So yeah, our coaches are welcome to speak to that.
I had my brother is going through cancer right now and treatment. And we spent 3 hours on the phone the other night. I'm in the East Coast and he's not. So it was from about midnight to about 3 a.m. for me, which was absolutely fine. But it was very interesting to me. It was probably the most anger I'd ever heard from him. And, he's more than halfway through his treatment. So things are he's seeing his body change. He's seeing the effects of the chemo and the radiation. And I think he sees the physical changes in him. And I think for the first time, I see the 6'5" larger than life man who is never been afraid of anything, actually seeing his mortality, for lack of a better word, actually seeing, he goes, "Deb, I look sick." I'm like, "Mark, you are sick and we need to help you. We need to heal you." But boy, there's a lot of deep-seated anger and issues and stuff. And boy, it was just coming out. And there's stuff that I had no idea. He's my younger brother and I had, no idea. But the best thing I think I could have done for him was honestly to just listen, to just listen and to have him sound off. And it really made me realize a different direction that I need to take with him. More rapid than I had thought. At first he was like, "Yes, I'm all for, doing everything I possibly can," to, "No, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I brought this on myself." And I'm no psychologist, so how do to dealing with that, it's a little unnerving to say the least. And this is somebody who's very, very close to me. But no matter what, I think everybody kind of goes through some of that at some point or another. I know for myself, when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, you go through a lot of stuff, and your mind can beat you more than anything, than the chemo drugs or anything else. And so, Susan is absolutely, correct when you have to really maintain that positive aspect. And my brother was doing that for a good long time, but he's not anymore. So he's letting it beat him, and I'm not going to do it because I'll beat it out. I'm his brother, I can do that. But that's how important that is, that whole mind body connection and everything. I think, and my husband has had cancer twice. It is your mind is the most powerful thing your body has, and it can I say
Yeah.
cure you. It can help you get over the worst times in your life, and this is one of those worst times in your life. If somebody says otherwise, they're wrong. It is. You get that word that completely transformed your life in one way or another. And to be able to remain positive, to have somebody be your cheerleader, to be your keep going, and to maybe sometimes just listen and not say a word, and just listen and let them vent. This was just the other night for me. So it was, I had to take a whole day to actually just kind of contemplate and ponder and really think about how the best way is that I can help him at this juncture and everything. And it's just I'm just going out there, and I'm going to go out there again. And this time it's going to be a little different. This time it's not going to be, it's just going to be about being present, and to be able to focus on him, and to let him vent, and to be able to talk some more and just continue talking, communicating. And he's got one of the best sense of humors, but he's losing it.
Chemotherapy itself does affect the brain function. I remember when I went through chemotherapy, it just comes to the point when you don't care. And I think it has a lot to do with gut-brain axis, because chemo does destroy a lot of things in the digestive system that affects the brain. And I have read about it, like people do change throughout the chemotherapy. In the beginning, the fight is there, but then down the road, as the energy goes down and body becomes weaker from chemotherapy, the mind also become weaker, and you just have to give him a time to pass the stage of chemotherapy, just be there with him and let him go through. And then after the chemotherapy, once he's gonna get better and better, then he's gonna start thinking differently also.
I hope so. Yeah, he's got one more come back. He's got one more chemo session left, but he does radiation every day. One more chemo session left, and he's very angry. He's very angry about he goes, this is the best that we have for people with cancer. He goes, this isn't good enough. He goes, I am so sick. He goes, there has to be something better. And in that, there's like, oh, let me help you. We're going to do this. And I think he's more, God, I think he'd just be one of the best coaches for people. I swear, when all is said and done, he's, he may be incredibly angry, but he's angry that it should be better. And how can we make it better? So is difficult and horrific as it is. There's a glimmer of hope there.
Well,
and to be able to help.
How people can have a strong mindset when they are laying in bed and have no energy to get up or do anything. At this time, you just want to have, I remember myself, like, you just want everyone to leave you alone. Just laying down in bed, literally laying down in bed, you have no energy to get up or even go to the bathroom. It hits you so hard. You just like people come and they do the stuff out of love, telling people like, okay, let's do this, let's do that. But no one is like experiencing what you're experiencing at this moment. It's just you want to be left alone because you need that time to get over that stage from chemotherapy, being very weak, and then regaining your health. And once you regain your health, then you start thinking differently. And I think that when the cancer came back, that's what I was so determined that there's no way I want to go through what I went through first time. I'm gonna do everything that not to go what I went through first time. And that's what basically brought me here today because of that experience, you know.
Yeah. And I think, and I think just communicating with him and actually going through some of the things that he had brought up, I think will be helpful in kind of overcoming the anger that he has, you know, through his past, you know, and everything, and definitely getting out of the mindset that I did this to myself, so therefore I'm being punished. You know, not by a higher power or anything. It's just I'm being punished. I did this to myself, so this is what I have to deal with. I'm like, I need to work on you.
Yes,
So,
yes. They have to understand that they did not do it to themselves. They just didn't know any better. That's all.
Right.
You know,
I think for different people, it might even work a little different, because the flip side of someone thinking that they did it to themselves, that can be transformed into, well, then I can get myself out of it. And this is going to be different, I think, for patient to patient. But I think, you know, the energy can be converted from one to the other. And so perhaps there is an arc that can happen for some people where they take, you know, part of them taking and accepting that responsibility and feeling it in a deep-rooted way, that could, especially with guidance, be converted into that empowered mindset where, okay, if you are responsible for your choices, well, what choices are we going to make now? And then ensuring that different choices can lead to different results. Ultimately, it's that action part, that conversion of that energy that is extremely strong. And like I forget which coach it was that brought it up earlier, feeling that, expressing that, and just even having that energy is probably a more favorable state than when someone withdraws and they give up and they aren't feeling anything at all. That is, I would say, harder to recover from, because energy can be transformed. So feeling something is a gift, even if it feels negative at the time. I see Carl unmuted.
That's a really good point.
You know, Susan said that's one of the top 5 killers is despair.
Yeah.
You know, so it doesn't sound like he's there. Anger is good. Anger can be a useful tool, especially for men.
Gotta take that, harness it, and turn it into the positive and stuff. And I think he's willing to do that. I really do.
That's good.
Just
we got Jane and we got Annette.
This may be helpful. This book is You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And Louise Hay believes that each disease, when it comes to a disease, equates with a certain emotion and has assigned a certain part of the body that holds that negative energy. Particularly with cancer, and integrated energy therapy is based a lot on her thoughts. And I was thinking of it because maybe if your brother reads this book, or you first, and see if you could get to him, it might help. Integrated energy therapy is based on remove the negative energy, put the positive back in. And according to her, particularly with cancer, it's not anger itself, but the anger that you kept stored and never dealt with it. So the interesting thing with both my husbands, who died from the same kind of cancer, leukemia, she said that anger is held in where the spleen is and where the gallbladder is. The repressed anger will come out the gallbladder if it's somebody who screams and yells. It will come out the spleen if somebody who just keeps it inside. So both my husbands, I mean, I don't know how I pulled this card, but okay. That's like a discussion I want to have with God. Like, are you kidding me? Both of them had abusive fathers that they never dealt with it.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael was going to a psychologist who really helped him, and his father was alive. And Michael went to his father to try to talk about it, and his father refused. But it was interesting that she came out to be right in both these situations. But I don't know if you can see the book. It's a great book, and it's every page color.
You know, and Jane, I just had this aha moment because Susan has that. She has a section in the course that is exactly what she talks about. And it just dawned on me when you brought that up. My brother has head and neck cancer. And it's about being repressed, not being able to vocalize what has been, going in throughout your entire life. And I'm like, boy, howdy, he is now. So maybe that is his therapy. And he just needs a sounding board. So I am ready to be that board, pincushion and everything else and stuff. And so yeah, you're absolutely right. It really is how cancers can affect our emotional state from early on, and and coming out later, and what there is some definite truth to that. That is huge. Yeah, that is absolutely right. And I'm going to share that with him. I will definitely share that with him, because I had forgotten about that. And I remember reading it going,
I read it a long time ago, and I'm rereading it now because, I had to come up from the ashes since Michael's death in June. And literally, Carl and Zach carried me, literally, emotionally. And you guys, now I'm really coming out, and, and you guys support. It's just beautiful. We're just this great family together, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
That's all. Can you put the author in the chat or something so
absolutely.
we can see? Louise.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Matt wanted to speak.
Well, I was actually going to say pretty much the same thing that Jane was saying too. I mean, there's actually lots of scientific studies now being done about it, just about how our emotions and our feelings change different things in our bodies and how we're functioning and the frequencies that we're actually putting out, which is primarily in our heart. And they're finding that those different emotions cause different frequencies to develop within the body. And if you stay in, a not great frequency, not great state of vibration, that's when, all those other things start piling on in your body, because you're vibrating at a state and at a frequency that your body just can't continue to keep up with. We're meant to have like a regular heart rhythm. And when you think about it, when we're anxious, you hold your breath. When you're angry, you hold your breath. But we need to be able to breathe through those things so that we can have, oxygen in and out. I mean, that's a big part of it too. So, I mean, I can say for myself, having cancer probably was the biggest wake-up call about my attitude and the way that I saw life and the way that I saw people. And since then, it's actually been a blessing, because I have been able to heal things in my life that I never thought I'd ever be able to heal or address. So there's always hope, I mean, in that aspect of things. I mean, for myself, when I was going through chemo, there were times where I was angry, but part of my personality was to avoid things. And that's one thing that I've gotten much better about is being open, and not being in denial. And I think that way it can be extremely therapeutic for us if we're open to that, if we're open to it. And it can be a very big teacher as well.
And when it comes to male persona, they usually are more close than the females. Females tend to express themselves and talk about it. Males kind of suppress their emotions and feelings because they think it's not part of a male, entity or like a male persona to talk about it. They would just suppress everything, and letting him talk about it, Deb, and just listening right now, I think it's very important, not just for your brother, for many other people also. And there, by the way, Jane, there's a line in that book by Louise Hay where she says, no one puts the thoughts in your brain but yourself. That I still remember that sentence from that book. I've been like following that all the time. When I think about something, I'm like, okay, you're not putting those thoughts in your brain, you know. So
Yeah,
it's a good book.
I'm sorry. Was that it, Maya? I'm sorry.
I said it's a great book to read.
Yeah, I think Christina has her hand up.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to I'm excited because this is my thing. I love talking about the emotions and how they do affect our health and our whole outlook on life. And so it is good to really recognize that the things that you've experienced throughout your life, even when you were a kid, right? Those emotions, like Marionette was saying, the emotions that happen, a lot of times we don't process them as a kid and we just end up storing them. And those emotions do create a frequency in our body. And if we don't release or acknowledge or forgive, then those emotions just stay there and we're not even aware of them. And so it's something that we do need to, it would be wonderful to process these emotions even before we got sick. But if we are sick, it's just a wake up call and it's to let us know that we do have these emotions that need to be worked on. And so often in my practice, what I'm seeing is that if people do work on the emotional aspect of their body, a lot of times the emotions, when they're released, you'll see an improvement physically. And there's a lot of studies that are saying, a lot of books are saying that 90% of illness and disease is due to unprocessed emotions. So while we are, looking at food, we're, taking care of the body, really the emotional body, the energetic body that's the first thing we should be working on before we start, doing all these other things.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And so, Christina, for those who don't know, please let people know like what your practice actually is, and if you want to expand even on, if when you're working with people, do you ever find that through the physical work they experience the emotions and like go through them?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, right now, I'm a massage therapist. I work mainly with women after breast cancer. So we do, manual lymph drainage. I work on muscles, but very often yeah, when you're working on the body, muscles hold on to emotions. So it's not uncommon for somebody to start having to cry on the table because an emotion is being released. Now, I just totally love the whole emotional aspect and the frequency aspect that I'm working on a program right now to become a bioenergetic healer. So I'm excited about that, to incorporate that into my practice some more and coach women to really help heal themselves. So it's a passion of mine right now. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. It's I love the area of, work that is body work and all of its assorted holistic forms. It's very lost within American culture. People think that massage therapy is just something, or just massage in general is just something that you do as like a Mother's Day gift, and like, you go and just do relax, and it's, just like a nice spa thing. But I'd say massage is a medical necessity. I think our bodies are designed with the intention of having that type of knowledge and work available at any given point, or regularly. There's a lot of things that our body goes through, whether we're physically active or we're not physically active, or we're male or we're female, or we're young or we're old. Like our bodies take a beating in this physical world, and maintaining that physical body, just like you want to maintain your car and make it not break down, it sometimes needs a mechanic. And
Yeah.
so working with a trusted body worker professional, and there are several different, modalities. Obviously, the modalities are important in what someone's trained in, but the particular practitioner themselves is probably the most important thing. I think it's a great step for general health an ailment prevention, or if someone is working with, some ailment such as cancer. That said, there are particular specialists that are certified to work and do massage work on cancer patients, because there are some things to keep in mind there. So yeah, thank you for sharing, Christina. Absolutely
Yeah,
wonderful.
sure.
I
Yeah,
love what
and
you
I
do.
mean, let me just mention it, when it comes to body work and massage, I mean, it runs the gamut, right? There's so many different types of body work you can go for. It really all just depends on your goal. If it's just pure relaxation, that's going to be very different than like a session with me. There's not a lot of relaxing going on because there's a lot of conversation, talking, working, we're working on lymph and muscles. So again, it all depends on what your goal is going to help you determine what therapist and what technique you want to incorporate.
Awesome.
Thank you, Christina. I think I'm going to work with him. I think I need to go and get him a massage. I think he needs to relax. And we'll start with that. And we'll do the other stuff. Yeah, thank you. That's awesome. It was good for me as well. Thank you.
All right. The floor is open. The mic is available. Who's got something on their mind? Otherwise, we got Jane.
Christina, I think you need the massage too, because please give your, Deborah, I'm sorry. Deborah, please give yourself credit and be so proud of yourself. And you deserve the relaxation. You're really stepping up to the plate here, because all cancer patients need a caregiver. And you're, take it in your heart that you're doing a great job, and take care of you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jane. I appreciate that, because, honestly, that's why I was to say, Christina, when I say thank you for me, that was huge, because I've noticed a difference in me when I found out that my brother had cancer. He didn't want anybody else to know in the family. So I'm the only one that knows. And what a huge, and one thing I noticed, I stopped working out. I stopped doing it because I was like, I think I was like, okay, I need to feel this with you. I need to feel whatever you're going through. And that's the worst thing that I know I can do for myself. And I was like, okay, I can't do that, or I'm gonna take a dive again. And I certainly don't want that to happen, and I'm not gonna let it happen. But this was huge. So everybody's comments tonight have been absolutely amazing and extremely helpful and very eye-opening for me. That, yeah, and I can't help him unless I'm helping myself as well. So,
well,
and
there's
that's,
another
goes for everybody.
There's another part of that. First of all, I'll share with you that 6 months before Michael died, I had my pulmonologist sat me down, and he says, Jane, I'm going to sit you down. I want to talk to you. And I went, uh-oh, anybody says, well, sit you down, it's a problem. He says, keep it up, and you're going to die before Michael is. Unless you take time for yourself and have something separate from him, you're going down. So this is a wake-up call, and make a choice. And even though I did, and I tried, when Michael died, I got very, very sick, from heart symptoms to stomach systems, you name it, because I was so depleted. But as a minister, I'd like to share one thing with everybody. I went to seminary in New York, and we learn about all different faiths and minister to people where they are. So we don't represent any one belief system. But all the belief systems had one thing in common, and it was the triangle, equilateral triangle. The command from whatever divine we adhere to or identify with. Love that higher power. Love other people as you love yourself. That self-love just for you, not to be stronger for somebody else, but just for you, is just as holy as loving the divine or loving other people. And take that, because what do we want? If we identify with a higher power who really loves us, what do we want for the people who love us? We want them to be happy. And that's the biggest thing that we were not taught. So I'd like to offer that.
I want to say something. There was a moment when I would get very angry with my mother-in-law because she would bring kids like candy and stuff like that. And I would get very mad and angry, and I would like, tell her, don't bring it, don't like, I would get very mad, but she would keep bringing. And then one day I asked myself a question. The reason she's doing that is probably that's her way of expressing her love. Okay, so my way is like, I have to let it go. I have to say thank you, take it and put it away, instead of getting angry and kind of raising my voice, not raising my voice, but I wouldn't say even very rudely talking to her, but in angry way, saying, Mom, how many times did I tell you don't bring this, right? So I was just like, that was a moment, actually, it was after the book that I read, Louise Hay book that I read, it kind of hit me that this is her way expressing the love. She doesn't know any other way, and this is a way, like, she's like, she wants to get hug from them, she wants to, like, tell them like she loves them and give them that piece of chocolate and stuff like that, right? So once I kind of, it would make me angry before, but then once I got that, I would say thank you and take it away and just put it away. I realized mentally how much it calmed me down. It just literally let go this anger that I was building because of that inside. It doesn't matter how many times I would tell her, but she still kept bringing and bringing. I let go all of those things, right? Once I just realized, okay, I'll take it and I will thank her and I just will put it away, not to give it to kids, for example. So, and that was the biggest realization that I start asking myself question when it came to other people. Why are they doing what they're doing? Because from my perspective, I see it differently than their perspective. So when I start thinking from their perspective, the anger kind of went down. And a lot of people now would tell me, Ma, you're so calm all the time. Because I always stand back and observe and look and ask myself a question, does it worth for me to even interfere at this point? Where is it going to take me if I would interfere, So, and then I would just back it up if I don't have to. And that's the biggest lesson I learned was cancer. Yeah.
It's just like not sweating the small stuff. I kept repeating that over and over again. I received this book during graduation, high school graduation, from one of my teachers that I had throughout all of high school, and that just kept going through my mind. Going through everything that I was going through is just don't sweat the small stuff. It's not worth it really, anyways. And then you start realizing, like, why am I spending energy on something so minute? Why am I even getting upset about that? There's no reason to.
Right.
Yeah. So you're so right in all of that.
Yeah. I started doing the stuff too, even myself, like, I would be a little pushy when it would come to diet and everything, especially when it comes toward your loved ones. You're gonna hear me out here, you scream on the top of your lung, hear me out, and no one wants to listen to you. So you gotta learn how to back it up, even though it makes you angry, even though this is a way out of it, you have to learn how to back it up and give them a space for them to come to that conclusion and point themselves, and they're going to come to you. You know, there's going to be time that they're going to come to you. Yes, it takes time, but this is what you can do, because you cannot change anyone's mindset unless they're ready to change. Right.
Wow,
Absolutely.
that was a good one. It's like 7:59.
Yeah, that brings us to the top of the hour. So unless any commenters or participators have a last minute topic they'd like to pitch, that will conclude tonight's meeting.
Yep. All good.
All right. Over so fast and a whole lot of fun. This was some really, really great topics. We didn't get to any of the like standard scheduled questions, but we always love when participators come with their own topics. That makes it more lively and real and relatable. And we thank everyone that participated in social media or on the call. For those catching the replay, wherever you're catching it, you can join us on the live Zoom sessions themselves by going to BeatCancer.org and clicking on the weekly call button right at the top of the screen. If you're on a mobile device, you'll hit the 3 lines button, which will open the menu, and then you can then access the weekly call page. We stream every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to adjust for your local time zone. We welcome holistic health and wellness topics to be pitched for discussion. You're welcome to participate via the chat, via the Zoom, um, or just listen in if you don't want, if you're not comfortable participating, that's totally cool too. That said, any closing remarks, Carl?
Yeah. I just wanted to say, and I'm glad you asked me for a closing remark because I was didn't have to butt in. Uh, just everybody here, all the coaches, everything that was said was just so much love and empathy and respect, and it's just a beautiful thing to see all the coaches coming together and helping each other and talking to each other, and every piece of advice that came out, you could just feel the love from them all. So thank you everybody for participating, and we can't wait to see you again on Monday for the private call and next Thursday.
Yep.
Right.
One of the biggest things to remember is that you don't have to be alone wherever you're at in your journey, whether you're on your journey of facing a cancer diagnosis, of caretaking someone that is, of wondering if you're going to get a recurrence or not, and wondering how you can help prevent that, or if you're on your journey of becoming a holistic cancer coach with us, there's no reason to ever feel alone. We have a thriving and growing community of people that want nothing more than to help you wherever you're at in any of those above areas. As a reminder, if you liked anything that a holistic cancer coach on this call said and you are interested in working with them, be sure to check out BeatCancer.org and click on the Find a Holistic Cancer Coach button, where you can search by name or scroll through the pages and find the cancer coach that you heard speaking tonight. If there's any questions about that or anything else that we do here, you're always welcome to email support@beatcancer.org, and we will answer your inquiry as quickly as possible. That said, we're looking to see you next week, and we're looking forward to it.
Okay. Bye
All
bye.
right, bye-bye.
Have a good evening, everybody.